Good afternoon, everyone. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you so much. Mr. Lang, will you please call the roll?
Crystal Manouche,
Here.
Mullins,
Here.
Shannon Holmes,
Here.
Dante Diggs,
Present.
Dana Finn,
Here.
David Guzman,
Here.
Bree Hayes,
Here.
Greg Henyon,
Here.
Emily Young,
Present.
Matt Rowe,
Here.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I am going to call for a motion of approval of the August 17th Policy Committee agenda. However, I'd like to recommend one change to that. And if we could move recognition of Chris Yakubowski's years of service, which is currently item 9E, up to before item number 5 on the agenda.
So moved. Second.
One other thing.
Oh, one other thing.
We sent you a second version of the letter on your email, and it's also stapled here. So the correct one that we're going to talk about tonight is the one stapled to your agenda and that we emailed to you, not the one that went out with the agenda. So just letting you know.
We sent you an email. You read your email on Friday. You will have no
Second
problems
email.
with the letter. Okay, so those two things. Supervisor Young made a motion, I believe. Who seconded?
Second.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Hayes. That,
All in favor?
all in favor? Yes.
Aye.
Discussion, because is this so that, Yakubowski doesn't? That's correct.
Oh.
There.
Over there.
Motion, but
Oh.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Yakubowski. We would like to present you with this fancy certificate. This is to certify and give thanks to you for your years of service serving on the Fredericksburg Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. I should have dressed up. From June 2006 to December 2007. And then you were back again, July 2014, June 2015, and then again for a staggering 5 years, 2021 to 2026. So congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we also have a farewell cake for Mr. Yakubowski.
Yes.
Becky has brought over there, which means you all get cake, not just Supervisor Yakubowski. So there is a cool cake. I think so.
Hi.
That's why there were no cookies up there?
All right.
Yeah. Speech. I was looking for cookies.
I'll move your cake. We'll start cutting it if you want to say a couple words, and then we'll take a brief recess so we can all get a piece of cake and then come back in and public hearing.
Sure.
Well, first of all, you're welcome for the cake. And I'm gonna steal Crystal's seat just for a second. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. I forgot actually when I served on FAMPO, so thank you for reminding me. I had no idea when it was. It's one of these organizations that you get on that it takes you a couple of years and maybe a couple terms to even figure out what the heck is even being talked about. And all the acronyms and all the, I mean, it's a lot of information. And so one of the things I want to do to make sure that, you know, for the years I've been here, I didn't take that all with me, that we had others that could, you know, pick up the mantle and run with it. And so I'm still here as an alternate, just in case one of you guys don't want to come one evening. But make sure you call me with enough lead time, because I'm not planning on coming back. But I really do appreciate it. And I will just leave you with one thing, is just make sure that we, as much as we can work together as a, we'll always have our differences and we'll always have our priorities. But when it comes to the region, if we don't work together, we have seen how things just don't get any better. And we need to make sure that we keep that cooperation up. And that really comes down to this group right here. It's amazing how much power is sitting in this room. And all of that, all of these decisions really do reverberate throughout time and decades. And if you go back, I mean, even back to my first term on this board, just the decisions that we were making, those are things that we talk about, like, oh, geez, if we just would have done, if we would have put aside our personalities and just learned how to work together for the betterment of our community, just how much better it would be. So I'm not looking at anybody in particular, but just saying for all three of us, for all three areas, Fredericksburg is not going anywhere, Stafford's not going anywhere, Spotsy's not going anywhere. We're all neighbors, and we're all going to have to get through this together. So thank you very much. I've always appreciated getting to know everybody. Good luck. I'm only a phone call away. I'm not going anywhere, like I said. But if you ever need anything or you ever have a question of why did we do something, please give me a call and I'd be happy to do my best.
Sharing your personal something in the name.
Yes, what's the number? Just give them a call. They'll get in touch with me.
I can have your cake and eat it too.
Thank you very much.
Okay, he's gonna pass. You want us to keep going?
Yeah,
All right.
well, you can have a break if you want.
Do you guys want a break to get cake or you want to keep on going?
If you
Keep going.
just make it easier.
Next up on the agenda,
Right, unless you want to write.
is public hearing. So we have resolution 2660 directing a public comment period for the draft Fredericksburg area metropolitan planning organization regional complete streets plan. I think we have to do these independently, so we'll open it up independently. Are there any comments or questions, members of the public, on these, or do we have any online submissions? Is that for the 2660? Okay, you want to go ahead and read it?
We're good. Thank you.
Matt, you on?
I'm good.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to provide comment on draft FAMPO from the Research Center and the Consumers we serve are highlighting the accessibility, experience, and identify opportunities for accessibility and access for everyone. There is a significant amount of valuable information included in the Complete Streets document. After reviewing the document, we are concerned that the level of the streets plan may be overwhelming for some individuals. In future documents, it would be helpful to focus by a two-page executive summary in addition to the full document. A summary will allow readers to quickly understand key points and major recommendations, reviewing the more information. Visual plan. The tables on pages 10 to 16 include a status column in which several projects are identified as acceptable. It would be helpful for FAMPO to provide a clear definition of what acceptable means in the project development process. Page of project in and if applicable, what the anticipated timeline is for moving forward implementation. Additionally, some of the project locations may be difficult for readers to understand unless they are already familiar with the area. Providing additional context, such as a brief description, nearby landmarks, could make this information more helpful. Disability Resource Center consumer feedback. In addition to these observations, we are including comments and feedback. Perspectives provide valuable insight into how the information may help identify areas where additional clarification context is beneficial. Thus, I know 3 stops that are currently inaccessible. Stop at Townsend Square. The ramp has to drop into the intersection. I reported this to VDOT. They will fix it when they install the sidewalk. Stop 169, Confederate Bridge. The ramp has to drop into the intersection. Stop 397, Blossom Lane. The ramp might be able to bridge the gap, but the lifts would have to land in the intersection. I'd be careful trying to wrestle somebody at the stop for fear of them getting stuck in what amounts to a well, even to try to see if the ramp is bridged. Intersection does fine. Who would make concern? The corner of Emancipation Highway and Snowden Street has no curb cut. Corner of Thornhill and Progress Street by the PNC Bank has a curb cut that leads directly into the street. This is one of the most dangerous curb cuts in Fredericksburg. Imagine you're blind. I'm not blind, but I can't use this with my wheelchair/scooter and my service dog on my right side. On top of that, it's so dirty that grass is growing into it. Wheelchair users have to drive through that. We can't step over. But also imagine how confusing this is for a blind person. They hear the cars, feel the curb cut, but then encounter dirt and grass. Is this a curb cut? Is it safe to use? Then the other side has 5 inches. No disability aid can safely get through this. And again, the able-bodied people just cross the street further down, but we can't. I also can't risk killing the battery on my scooter or wheelchair, so I have to turn around even if I need to go this direction. There are a lot of other examples where curb cuts lead straight into the street. This is the reason why disabled people need a seat and voice on the planning committee, boards, and any other decision making. That is the end of our 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Anyone in the room care to comment? Okay. Yes, yeah, they have a copy. Okay, so this is just sending it to public hearing. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Fabulous. Motion in a second. Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, now we're doing the public hearing for resolution 2705, approving the amended allocation of fiscal year 27 through 2032 condition mitigation and air quality program, which is the CMAQ, Surface Transportation Block Grant Program, and Carbon Reduction Program, CR funds. Anyone in the room care to comment? Do we have any comments on this one? Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, do we have a second? Fabulous. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Fantastic. Okay, now we're on to public involvement. This is where the public has an opportunity to address the FAMPO board. We ask that you be respectful in your comments. You'll have 3 minutes of time up there that Mr. Lang will have on the screen. I don't think we do speaker cards, so anyone in the room care to stand up and use your 3 minutes for public comment? Mr. Watkins, go ahead. Gonna get some cake?
Good evening, Al Watkins, George Washington, staff. First of all, Chairman. I also had wanted to thank Penny Bendier, Councilman McIntosh, on a job well done this past term. I know that you're all familiar with me coming before you and speaking, but this time it's a little bit different. I could probably use a little bit of direction regarding public involvement agenda item. Being that I anticipate occasions where I might desire to speak, present at that time, as I normally have. Or being that I now wear a second hat, being the CTAP chair, I also say instances outside of the public involvement portion where the CTAP perspective or input might be a welcome addition to a topic as it's being discussed. Especially since CTAP generally meets prior to the policy committee meetings and discusses the same agenda items. For example, during our discussion pertaining to Resolution 2707, which CTAP does endorse, besides the safety issues and foreseeable wear and tear on our roadways, members of CTAC questioned whether or not larger trailer loads might lead to less trucks on the road and a lesser carbon impact. In addition to other various impacts that the larger truck load potentially might need less use of transport by rail. We also had discussions regarding our biolabs, which tangentially led to Dr. Wright alerting us to the potential compliance difficulties that may occur during their transition from utilizing currently formatted documents and presentations to meet the new web content accessibility guidelines. We actually experienced that as our agenda was formatted completely different than it had been in the past. Other topics that we've discussed include the smart scale rankings for both TAC and CTAC, the transurban expansion, the unfortunately unsuccessful build grant application, and the updated regarding the LRTP and CRP. And if the agenda had not been changed, this might be a little bit more helpful. But finally, I wanted to thank Supervisor Yakubowski for his years of service. I kept it short on purpose. So
You saved us 30 seconds. Awesome. Any other public statement? Seeing no one, move on to motion to approve consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Fabulous. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, administrator report, Mr. Olive.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Welcome to everybody. Can move on to the next slide. Some new faces I thought we should just remind everybody about. One of them is in the room tonight. So Mr. Charlie Payne, who's just been appointed as the new CTB member for our region. Welcome to the meeting, and hopefully we'll hear from you and be able to share ideas with you as time goes on. We appreciate your making the time and joining us tonight. So that's our new CTB member.
Charlie.
Trucking up.
Mr. Charles W. Payne Jr. is sitting right over there.
Confused, that's all.
Also, two of our jurisdictions have appointed new planning and zoning staff. So the new planning and zoning director for Stafford County, Mr. Tom Ellsworth, is just pointing that out to you. We welcome new folks into the region. And Fredericksburg City has appointed a new director of community planning and building, Mr. Ray Cash. I met with him last week and introduced FAMPO to him. He's very interested to learn about what we do. So just some new faces we're pointing out and reminding everybody of. We have Supervisor Guzman with us tonight, but in a different capacity. He has now become a full member of the FAMPO Policy Committee and no longer an alternate. So welcome to you, sir, as well. And I have to ask Matt Rowe, is this your first time as a full policy member, or have I just gotten my dates really badly wrong?
No, I'm an alternate in for Councillor Matt.
Ah, that's why.
Playing somewhere. So.
Well, welcome to the alternate. Love to have you. Next slide. So the build grant, unfortunately, we did not get selected for the build grant this round. You'll know that we applied for the grant for about $6.5 million to do the full NEPA process for the river crossing bridge. And we got that message since we last met with you. We did get advised today that they're scheduling debriefing around the projects that weren't successful this round to tell us what we could do to improve our project and submit it again next round. So with your permission, we will do that. We'll resubmit it in January for the next round of applications. Projects that did get approved that are in our area, I've listed there for you at the bottom. In Washington, D.C., PRTC, who you may have heard of, received a $25 million award to upgrade the L'Enfant station. Now, this is not the metro station. This is the VRE train station. And add a fourth track. We're building 4 tracks from Union Station in D.C. to around about Springfield, and then it'll eventually funnel down to 3 tracks. So that's for that project. In Virginia, we had 3 projects that were funded. The VPRA had a, I think that's error. Is that not VRE as well? Anyway, the Richmond layover facility was funded. The city of Lynchburg, at the intersection of US 501 and US 221, they have 25 million towards the intersection improvements. Middlesex County received funding, a small amount of funding. It's 1.6 million for a planning study, Broad Creek Chesapeake Bay Access Project. And then the city of Cambridge in Maryland received also a planning grant for the Cedar Street Gateway Corridor Multimodal Safety and Resilience Planning. Those are projects that were funded this round. We will, if you wish, submit for next round again. Chairperson, I won't raise this tonight, but perhaps we should also, at some point in the next 6 months, have a discussion about future funding for the project and whether we want to carry on doing this, or whether we want to look at other funding options as well, but that's up to you. And I don't think tonight I should introduce that as a topic because that'll become a big conversation.
Yeah, thanks again. Question about when you get the feedback portion of that. How does that work? You sit down with someone and they talk to you, or they give you
So
documents?
they typically do an online meeting and they typically give us verbal feedback. The last time we had a debrief on an SS4A project, they told us they can't give us anything in writing. So they give us verbal feedback on how your project could improve, why it might not have scored in the first round this time, etc. It's a very competitive bid program. So you know, it partly depends on the criteria of the grant, and partly depends on who's in office at the time, because they have some influence over which projects they choose. So they do give us feedback, but it's typically just verbal feedback in a Zoom meeting.
So you'll capture that in some future administrative report.
We write down notes typically, and that's what we did with the one SS4A project that didn't get approved. We wrote down notes in the meeting. We then worked with the jurisdiction. We then reapplied for that project, but we improved it.
I asked that just so the public can hear.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll do it again. We do take our own notes, and then we work with the jurisdictions or with the policy committee to amend the project, resubmit it, or whatever the necessary steps are.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say you asked about the PR. He did get VRE did get an email celebrating this, so I think it was like PRTC perhaps on behalf
of PRE, yeah.
So I think you're right about that.
Okay, good. Next slide. This was a request by a member of the policy committee for further information on the breakdown of the funding that FAMPO has allocated of the last several years, or it's kind of a funny thing to say, but we allocate funding for the future. When we get given CMAC, SDGB, and carbon reduction funding, we're actually allocating it for future years. We're not allocating it for the current year. So this is funding we allocated in the past, but it's for future years, if you get my meaning. There's a timing thing there. So we were asked for a breakdown of which jurisdiction got how much money for which program. So that is the answer to the question. John has put together each of the years how much were funded, and then there's also some in the previous years, which is money that was allocated in the past for previous years and is currently being spent, although in some cases not spent yet. So that's the full breakdown, and I know members received the slides, so if there are any questions, happy to answer. I've also got John here if there are any questions. If not, happy to move on to the next slide. So the extra large trucks item that you have in your pack tonight, just want to point this out because this came up in a different space. The review of the House bill, the Transportation Reauthorization Bill. So the Infrastructure and Jobs Act is going to be replaced by the thing that's currently called the Build America 250 bill, which will become an act once they vote. And in there are 2 points that are relevant to the large truck discussion that we had last time. There's an item there which creates a 10-year pilot program to allow heavier trucks. That is an opt-in. So individual states have to decide whether to opt into the trial. So if Virginia decides to opt in, they may, but it's not going to be forced on us if we don't want to opt in. The second part, though, is more concerning because they are permanently increasing to 88,000 pounds auto hauler trucks, the trucks that move your car to where you're going to go and buy it from. That's not a trial. The bill has it as a permanent increase in weight, your allowance. So the proposed letter or resolution that we have in the pack is not about something that might or might. This is already in the draft bill. So if we like it, it's great. If we don't like it, it's already in the draft. That doesn't mean it'll get approved because, as you know, Congress, they get a Senate bill put together by 3 different committees, which could, what do they say? A ass is a horse that's assembled by committee, right? So So committees will work on these bills and there will be some version of the bill that will come back. It may or may not have that in, but right now the House bill has got that part in and the other part will opt in. So they are actually in the draft bill that's before Congress. But
Question. When it says here, cost added wear and tear that comes with significant financial impact. In that bill, did they put anything, any allowance towards that?
there's no allocation in that particular clause to provide funding for extra wear and tear.
Okay, because I'm thinking, even if like, say, certain areas do not participate, like you just said, we don't opt in, and they're trying to go from Maryland to North Carolina, for example, how do they get there?
Well, that's a very good question because a truck doesn't stop at the border. So it's a bit like, I'm assuming it's where the truck is registered, right? Because what happens when the truck gets to the border? Do we block the highway and say you can't come in? I don't think.
So it actually does have to fall under a permit, apply for an oversized, overweight vehicle. Have to do that through DMV.
Okay.
Actually, yes, they would have to go through a process if they were legal in a state that had higher limits and Virginia did it and wanted to haul through Virginia.
They'd have to apply for a special use permit. Okay, good. That's very.
So-
Yes, it would be fun.
I was gonna say,
Just weigh the trucks. Like, that's why they have the weigh stations. They have tickets.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, thanks. Next one. Consultants, this is just a piece of information for you. We spoke previously about starting the on-call, the RFP process to get new on-call consultants because the current batch of consultants that we have, their contracts expire at the end of September. So just letting you know that we have started the process. We had 18 expressions of interest letters sent to us. 8 of those turned into a full submission. They want to be on-call consultants for FAMPO. We've scored those proposals. We then invited them for interviews. The panel met with them in interviews. We're busy finishing that. We will bring you a recommendation. Well, first we'll take the recommendation to the TAC, and then we'll bring the tax recommendation to you as to which consulting firms we should proceed with in terms of getting a new set of on-call consultants. And they're there to assist with those tasks that we can't do in-house when we need a consultant to do extra work, like running the travel demand model to work out if there's a problem, right? We don't do that in-house really. We have a consultant doing that, or if some engineering work is required, even if it's preliminary engineering, we don't do that in-house. We send that kind of work out to a consulting firm. Just a piece of information. We'll come back to you with proper recommendations. Next slide. Just last slide, studies and grants. The SS4A grant, the one grant that we were waiting for was actually issued to us in 2024, FY24, but the new administration came in subsequently and paused all of those grants for review. They now finished the review and we were issued with final contract a couple of weeks back. So now we can actually implement the 2024 grant because we've now got the final approval. They just amended the language in the contract. I don't think I need to explain to you what that probably entails, but it was amended. CHIP has signed the contract on behalf of the institution, and the federal DOT has signed it, so we now can execute. That particular project needs a consultant. It's for safety assessments in Spotsylvania County on several roads, and we will be working with the county on getting that one rolled out. The Mall Court microsimulation, that was a very small project just to establish whether that Mall Court punch-through road is feasible. We're not actually doing a big study. It's just doing microsimulation to test the waters because VDOT felt very strongly that until we find a workable alternative, we shouldn't be spending a lot of money on it. So this is a very, very small study to just determine whether any of the iterations of changing that intersection and putting the road through will actually produce a workable solution that won't foul up the traffic on the I-95 off ramps or on the intersections of no, my mind, the intersections on Route 3, about 2 or 3 intersections either side of that particular intersection. We want to see that if we put the road through to the mall, it doesn't disrupt the Route 3 traffic.
Yeah, this is by the Burger King.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
It's a half a road. It's a half a road. It goes in and then stops. It doesn't go all the way through to the mall parking.
Do you still have a question?
Yeah, the simulation, do an at-grade intersection, or was it the flyover?
So we've had flyovers proposed in previous studies. VDOT had pipeline studies, had consultants working on this. The attempt here is to try and get something that's more affordable, I think, and to see whether any of the upgrade options actually work. Because if they don't work, there's no point spending money further on it, right? If they do work, we can provide that access. And one of the problems is that there's also difficulty getting pedestrians and bicycles across Route 3. And it's between the mall and Central Park. So there's lots of people wanting to move between those places. So we would like to, at some point, find a way that we can get a safe crossing for pedestrians and cyclists. We don't know if this is the intersection to do that, but we're just going to explore whether we can at least punch through that road without messing up the traffic.
Remind me please the origin of the initiating act of engaging in this.
So the first start of it was really the chairperson of FAMPO at the time, the current chairperson, the predecessor, asked us to investigate this.
It's not.
Met with folks from Spotsylvania County and looked at options. And then we were asked to investigate. We met with VDOT, and VDOT was like, we are not going to spend money on this if we can't find a workable solution. So we're doing a micro study just to determine whether it's workable or not.
Can I ask that when we have some of these studies that were way far back and we have new boards, that we bring some of these things back and say, are we still interested? I don't know what you.
This one isn't so old. It was only approved in the UPWP that you all voted for like 2 months ago.
Okay.
So it's very recent.
Because I just know that I'm going back to the
SS
study for staff, for example, for Garrisonville, that I don't recall when that came from, but yeah, just to make sure that new.
So the SS4A one is about 2.5 years old, but that's because the federal government delayed signing. The Mall Court one, we only got it into the UPWP and the budget. So at the end of May,
This,
very recent.
we all were on this
Yes,
together when this small
Correct.
court thing came up.
correct.
This was an initiative that Chris wanted to look at because of, years ago, there used to be a cut through there, right? That you would cut through that back way into the mall. And we had a whole discussion around,
Yeah, no,
okay, all right.
So all I'm saying is on some older ones that,
Yes.
that the county that it brought it forward is still interested in.
Some of two person.
I was saying that sometimes, so Chris brought it up, but the county that brought it forward is still interested in that.
I think the concern was, Shannon had just mentioned, we were talking about the river cross, right? We were talking about roads that are by that. And there was a way that people could go to the mall directly from Central Park instead of having to
Yes.
do that whole thing. It was kind of in addition to the larger scale project. It's what we were talking. Yeah.
The deal we made to get Spotsy to help us.
I don't know about that.
That's how I remember it. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I just would like to add a little context to that, that it's not, shouldn't just be viewed as a way to punch Carl D. Silver through, because currently Carl D. Silver, you got to cross 3 lanes westbound to get into the mall. So the safety is.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And we do have consistent safety problems getting people across Route 3. So we always, I mean, VDOT will, you have the time to talk about how
Safety
in
problem.
multiple studies, we've tried to find ways to safely get people across Route 3. It's a big concern. People have been killed and injured and all sorts of things. So,
And I mean, in all sincerity, you have two more because it was last night.
yes.
There was a homeless on the bike, no lights, anything, trying to cross 6. And then there was somebody still begging and it's dark. And I'm like, I can't see you.
So just for information, FXB Go has asked FAMPO staff to work on a high capacity transit study. This is a study that was actually funded by FAMPO some 4 years ago, I think. And the current leadership of FXB Go approached us to ask us to work with them on defining a scope for the study and actually getting it done, because it's been waiting for 4 years. So we're working on a scope with them. We don't have that finalized yet. We will come back to you once we have more information. The LRTP progress updates on the agenda today. We're giving you little bits of it in bite-sized chunks, because I'm sure if we brought you in January 800 pages, you wouldn't be able to do it all in 1 month. So we're trying to give you little bits of progress as we go. There's one today. Next month, we're going to bring you the list of projects in the constrained long-range plan that have been scored, so you can see which projects are there, and then we will put that out for public comment. The TAC members have been working on these projects. They've sent John their lists of projects, and we're now busy scoring them and sorting them. We have to have a constrained long-range plan approved by you all by November. A long, complicated explanation why we do that. We do have to do it before we finish the LRTP and TOTO, which we will probably finish in April. But the constrained long-range plan is something which has consequences at federal and state level, so we can't delay that, but we're working furiously on it in the background. Chair, that's all I have.
Awesome. Okay, got a couple of quick action items. So going over to 9A, resolution 707, a resolution opposing federal amendments that would increase truck size and weight limits and urging Congress to protect local roads, bridges, and public safety. You had this in your pre-read agenda. I know we had a presentation by the CAT previously. Do I have a motion to approve this letter?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Hayes, a second by Supervisor Diggs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carried. Oh, you abstained? Okay, perfect. One abstention noted. That motion carries. Okay. Next up is the letter to the Secretary of Transportation. It's the revenue sharing program policy revision. I had Ian email you guys a copy of it attached also to the agenda today, the revisions. Do I have a motion to move that forward? Supervisor Diggs made the motion. Counselor Holmes made the second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? That motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to 9C, review the 2055 LRTP goals and objectives chapter and public involvement report. This is going to be presented by Mr. Lang. He has a summary presentation for us. So I'd ask you guys to hold your questions until the end if possible, as I think some of your questions might get answered as we transition through this. And remember, this is not the full LRTP. This is just a tiny little bite of the apple. Go ahead.
So this is the LRTP 2055 chapter progress. So we're looking today at the chapter 2 goals and objectives, which is ready for review, and appendix D, the public involvement report, which is currently in progress. So the goals and objectives, the content itself is complete. The goals and objectives language is already adopted by you guys back in May, I believe, and the graphics are subject to change as the LRTP is. We have added some new parts to the goals and objectives. We've added a chapter description, chapter introduction, which provides context for the goals and objectives, as well as a keyword attached to the goals. This is what we're looking for feedback on. The public involvement report details pre-public engagement opportunities and outreach attempts. We have completed the introduction and survey section, and every section provides background and lists the outreach activities for each section. Our next steps for the public involvement report are waiting for the completion of the CLRP and the LRTP public engagement process. The CLRP section will likely be completed around October, November. The LRTP section will likely be completed around March, April. We're seeking feedback on the additions to the goals and objectives chapter. The goals and objectives cannot be meaningfully changed because they've already been adopted. The public involvement report is currently in progress. There are drafts, both chapters in the policy committee agenda, and you can send feedback to me at eugene.pine@pwregent.org.
Any comments or feedback? No? Okay, next item.
I like, I was just gonna say, I like the heading, like how you broke them out and,
The hey you?
yeah, you.
Just need a smoke
You.
there.
I just think it makes it a little more, clear and it's easier to read. I mean, it's not easy to read unless you make it a lot bigger, but I mean, overall, it's easier to read, yes.
We are, Chairperson, we are trying to make the LRTB slightly shorter, and we're trying to use a lot of graphics so that members of the public don't feel like daunted by this 900 pages of just text. So we're trying to, make it more
Make it
user friendly. Yeah, well,
Graphic.
not quite that bad, but yes.
All right, thank you very much. Next topic, which is the public involvement report.
No, we've done that.
Oh.
He did,
I think she had something.
he did both
Oh,
together.
did you? I'm sorry.
Just thinking, based on some of the feedback we heard earlier about from Disability Resource Center about how quickly we move on. Some of the feedback there about like a more condensed executive summary, I think a lot of that might translate to this as well. So I just encourage that we use that as just a general approach. Make things more accessible.
Tapped out. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I knew that.
I'm sure.
No, I promise I'll keep it quick, but I also think that in addition to the executive summaries, that if there are a lot of acronyms in FAMPO, and if at almost every document that goes out, if we can just put like a little key, this is what STBG is. This is
Yeah,
what
that's a good idea.
because there are so many of those, and
Like, you only have to make it once.
right, and then just like, but if it's in there, like put it so that the public also doesn't have to be looking these up, because you could look up STBG and there could be some other, unless you put in,
Transportation.
APA is the American Planners Association, but it's also the American Psychological Association.
also the.
It's the same, I think.
There you go. So we do actually have a full list
I
in the
know.
LRTB. And we also, when new members join, we do give that training manual, which has them all in as well. But you're quite right, when we use those terms in these meetings, we should actually spell it out.
I think if somebody's trying to read this and keep up and keep, like track and give, meaningful feedback, it would be helpful that we have that on a regular basis.
Noted.
But I love the 3-page front and back or whatever.
All right, 9D, update 95 Express Lanes bi-directional project. Mr. Kenyon.
Me.
Tell us what he can't tell us.
Great, yes.
What clip you want me to put?
Okay. So, what we're doing is we are currently exploring the feasibility of adding bidirectional traffic through the I-95 corridor. What you see on the screen is basically the potential future limits of the express lane, starting up basically at Springfield Interchange and ending at the Spotsylvania Parkway. Right now, the express lanes are reversible, meaning they only went in one direction. During peak hours, AM, PM, they switch. And then over the weekends, they go northbound one day, southbound the next. What this would do would be to have reversible bidirectional, so meaning that there would be flow in both directions 24 hours a day. And starting up at Springfield Interchange, it would be 3 lanes in each direction, And then by the time we get to exit 133, I'm sorry, exit at the Prince William Parkway, it drops down to 2 lanes. So within the confines of Stafford, Fredericksburg, Spotsy, it would be 2 lanes in the entire length in each direction. So 4 lanes total. There is a typical section down there in the corner that is not accurate. It is accurate for the northern part. That is 3 lanes. But other than that, that's just a sense. So it shows, it depicts 3 lanes. We would only be 2 lanes. So where are we today? Today, we're going through the process of having this project considered in the train long range plans. Transurban has submitted their information into FAMPO already. They still need to go through Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments. That hasn't happened yet. And we have initiated the NEPA process. So we're assessing, some environmental impacts. We're doing studies. We are currently land surveying. If you talk to anybody that has explained that they received a letter from us that people are going to be out associated with this project, that was for the land surveys. There's still a bunch of investigations that would need to happen. All the environmental, the noise, the geotechnical. So that process has begun. Public hearings are expected to begin most likely late 27, possibly early 28. And then these 2 processes are going to inform a feasibility determination. So after going through these processes and then understanding better than we do today, the engineering, the traffic modeling, any potential constraints out there that we're not aware of today, at that point in time, basically the feasibility study would be complete, and there would be a determination as to whether this is a viable project to move forward. If yes, then we're entering into some sort of arrangement with Transurban, and then if no, simply the study concludes, and then the project doesn't happen. We don't know what the answer to that is going. So bear with me a little bit on this map. It's not the easiest to understand, but what this is this is a line diagram of the 95 corridor starting at the northern, starting at Chippewa Creek, and then extending. So far north is on the all the way on the right, and then I'm going to start there, walk you through to the left south, and then the next slide we're going to pick up and continue south to the end of the project. Basically, this purple line here represents the existing reversible lanes today. So those are simply going to be widened in some fashion to accommodate 4 lanes in each direction. And then those arrows that you see, the green arrows, are modifications to existing access points that service the current express lanes in that area. And then when you get down to the orange, those are new access points in anticipation of us having the actual extension of the express lanes themselves. So one of the things that's happening is currently the express lanes terminate here in between Center Point Parkway and US 17. They're going to continue further south for 11 more miles. So the blue line represents 2 new express lanes in each direction where there are no express lanes today. And then this green infrastructure here are the exit and entrance ramps to facilitate that, as well as this access point off of 17 directly. So then we pass the Rappahannock River, and then coming up to Route 3, there are a series of on-ramps and off-ramps to facilitate that interchange. So sorry, I missed one. At Fall Hill Avenue, there is a concept that at the express lane only, it would facilitate access directly to Fall Hill Avenue. There is a concept at Harrison Road with the express lanes only. There would be an access point also at Courthouse Road And then finally, at Spotsylvania Parkway. Now, the engineering hasn't been done, the traffic analysis hasn't been done. So those aren't, first of all, we don't know if the project's a definite, but even if the project's a viable project and everything looks great and everybody's agreeable, there's no certainty that any of those points in particular are going to provide access. Transurban has identified them as viable access points.
95 exit from the express lane,
Yes.
but new exits.
Correct. Well, they don't exist yet.
Right,
So,
new
yes,
exit. And
yes.
that could be all of these points, could be none of them. We'll pick the best one. You can have this one.
So we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. I suspect that, so one, we have to validate that from an engineering perspective, from a traffic perspective, that all of that works. And then once that works, there's a layer of, really Transurban's bailiwick, the financial analysis as to whether, we don't want to build something where nobody's going to come. We also don't want to build something where we're going to create a bottleneck where, everybody's going to sit, because everybody's waiting for someone to make a left-hand turn into a express lane entrance. So the answer today is we don't know, but those do illustrate potential connection.
Hold on, Dr. Young had a question.
Yeah, real quick. Can you go back to Garrisonville Road again? So
Sure.
where is the divergent diamond in this? Like I see these round thingies here at the Garrison
So this is just
exit.
This is just a schematic of the interchange. So this hasn't gone into any detail to actually try to capture the specific geometry of each.
But you have Garrisonville Road there, so I'm assuming that is 140.
That's Garrisonville Road, yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 140, no, 143. So my second question is the timeline for the study?
It's going to take a while. So, right now, the NEPA process is underway. We'll be doing public hearings late 27, early 28. And then, this could occur by early 29 is when we could be wrapped up with the study and potentially have a viable project.
And then, so Transurban, when Fairfax was undergoing road expansion and all that, we're talking about 2 lanes on 95 in addition to the 2 that we already have in one direction, that we're using the same 2 lanes. So we're talking about 2 more.
So yes, in the areas, in these purple areas, there's 2 lanes existing and they get reversed and the
Correct.
gates are all there.
Right.
In those areas, in the future, there would be 4 lanes.
Yeah. So FAMPO's decision and approval authority, would we be able to, just like Fairfax did, put a penny or 2 on the expressway that the counties will be able to reap some of the benefits, just like Fairfax did? They have that decision approval authority when that time comes, like Fairfax did?
So I don't believe so.
Transurban is probably gonna build it. Yeah, that's how they did it last
I think
time.
Fairfax is a little different because they have the 395 express lanes, and I don't believe they operate the same way.
That they had, so I'm don't want to bring it up here because it's with Fairfax. They were able to have a contract where they got a penny or I can't remember how much off of with Transurban.
So
It worked because that's what I gave you my first year to go and look into. Now we have an opportunity, and so.
So if you know the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission, they run the 395 I-95 corridor program. They get some funding because of the express lanes, which they allocate to transit and bike ped projects. And they have a thing.
PRTC.
Yeah, they have a thing called commuter choice. And so there is some funding that comes from the express lanes in Fairfax that goes into, and further down, that goes into the commuter choice program at MBTC, and MBTC then allocates that to people anywhere on the corridor with the proviso that the projects they fund have to help reduce the congestion on I-95. So
I
they
think we have PRTC.
Commuter choice has contributed to projects in this area.
Yeah.
In the past. So that is viable and that will continue. But as far as the concept of, I don't know, FAMPO putting a toll up as part of this,
I'm not saying that FAMPO, I was just asking, you had FAMPO up there, so I was asking what the authority or decision approval process would be.
I think-
We have PRTC that could bring it up and see where they stand, so. if you
I think
have-
the question is whether the new project would also have some small amount that goes into a program like commuter choice, and I don't know. It's too early to say, but no idea.
I know there's probably a couple other questions. Have you finished your slides?
I believe so, yes. Yes.
Okay. Supervisor Diggs, we're next and then.
So I just want to understand the funding for this. Is this, once if study goes well, it's approved, is VDOT paying for it up front and then, how does,
So generically speaking, so none of the funding's been worked out yet.
okay,
But generically speaking, Transurban would be financing. They would be responsible for getting the corridor constructed. And then they would be the one generating the toll revenue.
okay. And that's for,
That's the public-private partnership.
gotcha. And in terms of collecting that revenue or those tolls, they do that perpetuity, forever, how does,
It depends on the arrangement that's made.
okay,
Like that would all be part
Out
of
of
a
that.
discussion and a negotiation and, financial arrangements would be made.
That's all done.
That's all, that is all part of the decision-making process as to whether we're going to get to, yes and no. And that's where we get to including scopes of work and roles and responsibilities of each part. That's where all that gets hashed out. So right now, we're just trying to figure out whether we got a real project on our hands. And then the specifics of the questions that you asked, which I can only answer very generally right now, gets figured out once we determine feasibility.
and I suspect by them heading it in this way, it gets done a lot faster in terms of building.
Well, it's the financing, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the financing of the project.
Okay.
In terms of design and footprint, so will the study determine if best course in possibly doing this will include separated roadway, the way that it's done right now, where it's separated by
guardrail and Jersey wall where applicable, or could we possibly see something that's more like, the Beltway and six where it's smaller and separated? I was just wondering. Existing infrastructure and trying to work.
It's very possibly a combination of both. It's going to depend upon how many lanes we can fit in what particular space. And, there could be stretches where everything's skinnied up a little bit at the shoulders and there's bollards. And there will probably be stretches where there's ample room in the median to get 4 lanes in comfortably. So, that's part of the engineering detail, but it would surprise me if this became a real project that we would have like a full standard typical section throughout the entire.
Right, so everything's on the table and probably.
Correct.
President Owens?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Greg, if I recall, in the 90s when the state was trying to fix the mixing bowl and Springfield, that kind of stuff, it just wasn't perfect. Transurban came in and said, I don't know that essentially they just said, take it over, and the proposal was made for them. Finance it. That's correct.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, I remember
I wasn't around here in the 90s.
Okay, I remember
It
how
was just a babe.
disruptive that was, just trying, CBDOT tried to do. And that was building the mixing bowl. Yeah, that's typical. I think the only way it's kind of a scale of project ever even gets considered is if someone with $10 billion shows up. and
They
says,
take it off of me every month, so.
Which is the new
and then we pay them.
But I said they make it off of me every month.
That's right.
Oh,
$2,000 a month on toll. Okay, are we good on this? He can't give us a lot more information. This was really just situational awareness. in connection with our last meeting where we had done the correspondence on the bidirectional project and the scoping request, and that's our next item on the agenda. So, do you want to give an update?
Yeah, so
Share one general sentiment.
Sure.
Probably, I work slightly further north within our region, and literally once a week, there is like a coffee conversation about how they just extend those toll roads. So I know that this is something that long discussed and long felt, and so, however we get involved and support and advocate.
You have to time all your trips. Which time does it switch? I can't go back.
Never mind.
It's already switched.
So I just want to say I'm grateful for the update and, working forward.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks.
Thank you.
So we were asked to provide a letter of input regarding the scoping for this NEPA study that has kicked off. And so I was asked to draft something and circulate it to you all, and I did that. We then sent the letter in to central office with lists of studies that have been done in the past in the area that might shed some light onto some of the intersections and some of the areas where this is built. We completed the letter and we did send it in. We were on a fairly tight deadline, but I did send everybody a copy. Didn't get very much feedback, so I took it that you were happy for us to send it in. At least we're on the record as being conditionally in favor of the project, but we have some concerns about certain intersections and so on, which we shared with them. And hopefully in the study, they will be able to address some of those concerns for you all. Obviously, when the NEPA study starts, there will be public input and a panel of local representatives who will be stakeholders for the study. So please stay tuned and do send your people when they call for it.
Thank you for.
All right. Is that it on that one?
That's it.
All right, fabulous. Item number 11, staff and agency reports, smart scale submissions.
Okay, I just wanted to let you all know that all 8 regional smart scale applications submitted for the deadline. And our quality staff worked with better than ever this round. So I just want to thank that. Great. Now
They're going to be approved.
it was the best round.
Yeah. I can just say from myself just to thank VDOT, to thank Carrie and the FAMPO team, and to also thank the locality staff. It was a much better process. The last process, we were still getting cost estimates 20 minutes before the deadline, and we didn't have a chance to review them. It was too late. This process, we worked early with the consultants. We asked them to send the materials early. VDOT told them to send it early. We all worked together, and much better process. Can't promise we'll win the money, but we did get our stuff done a lot better, I think. I think the quality of the submission was better, and we got it in on time. We got a lot of documents early, so the localities were able to review their documents. I think it was a great process.
Got it. Okay, Mr. Lang, are you going to update us on the accessibility requirements transition? I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with what's going on with a lot of website updates, and then roll us right into the information tables after that.
Okay, so there are new web content accessibility needs compliant with web content accessibility guidelines 2.0 level AA by April 26, 2027. We are starting that process now. See, agenda documents look slightly differently in the next few months. This means that might have them in a different format, maybe a Word file, maybe HTML. We're going to be changing some of our text size, having color contrast, photo descriptions for visually impaired. Contact me at eugene.line@region.org for comments or questions about the process. If your teams or organizations are doing something that you think that we should know about, please let me. And all right, our upcoming information table on August 29th, the Fredericksburg Farmers Market Community Day in Fredericksburg from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. September 12th from Caroline County YMCA in Caroline County from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And September 19th, the Disability Resource Center Fall Family Festival in Fredericksburg from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Among the things we talked about at the information table is, gathering some information on what people want for a new LRTP name. There are some organizations that want something like Philadelphia is the future 2055, and it would be great if we could do something as well, similar to that. So we're going to be talking about that in September, and the following month we will hold. Have any insights on potential names? I can take that, but yeah, that's accessibility requirements, transition, and the upcoming.
Any board member comments today? Any board member comments?
I have one.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Supervisor Yakabaski for his service. Wanted to thank, he's gone.
Yeah, he's like, I was like, I know, I thought that, and then
Yeah,
it's over, I was
Really,
like.
just for the record, thanking Supervisor Panuch for wanting to serve as chair and hoping that we have a good collaborative and successful here.
Anybody else? All right, my only comment as chair is obviously thanking Mr. Yakubowski for his years of service. Thank you, Ian, for ensuring a smooth transition. You were wonderful in review and making sure that I was prepared. And one item that I wanted to kick off for you guys to consider could have Ian review our bylaws, specifically looking at sort of like updates to any public comment criteria or changes that we want to make to that. And then also updates, just reviewing annually to the virtual meetings and making sure that what we have is compliant with state law. Because I know they make changes to that annually and we're supposed to review that annually. Anybody opposed for him to take on that review and then bring us back some suggestions as a
And add any old stuff that we are not aware of? Yes.
Sure. Yeah. You guys good with that?
No.
Yeah.
All right, fabulous. Well, that is all we have. Just to note that the next meeting is actually September 21st, not September 15th. So September 21st at 6 p.m. right here. And
Yes.
with no other business, we are adjourned.
Right then.
Bang the gavel.